Can't believe it's almost August already. It's currently July 31st, 2019. Excuse me a second. Very, very tired. All I do is work and drive my kid to summer day camps, so I am exhausted. Don't have too many pickups this month. We have one, two, three, four, five, six books to share with you guys. But of course, as always, I want to talk about other things before I share with you the 6 books I picked up this month. I know I have to start out by saying I don't film these for views. I'm going to say that because these are probably my least watched videos, like the pickups videos. I mostly film these just because I want to share with you guys like what's going on channel wise, like what's going on, like what am I currently reading, what I plan on reading in the future, and other generalized stuff, like channel related stuff. So that's why I mostly film these, and I know that they're not terribly like, not a lot of people are hunkering down and watching them, but it is what it is, and I'm going to keep doing them because it's my prerogative. I just finished reading Wetlands by Charlotte Roche. Like I said in my review of that book was not for everyone. It's sexually graphic, so of course, like I think a majority of the stuff I read, this is why I try to dissuade like young kids or like, 13, 14-year-olds from subscribing to my channel, because I'm not really for you guys. I'm more for adults. Send your parents here. But another thing, I'm also currently reading The Last Astronaut by David Wellington. I know I usually try to read a book a month, but that thing is pretty massive. It's relatively thick. I think it's over 400 pages. The font's really super small. I've hardly made a dent in this book. I think it's going to take me at least a month, maybe a month or more. So I kind of have an idea of what I want to read after that. But let's just say I'm kind of open to suggestions. Like if you guys see something in my pickups that you think I should, read next, then, I'm always like up for that. And I do listen to the suggestions because like I did alter my reading TBR based on something that somebody wanted me to read and review, and I did do that, so I stayed true to my word. Another thing I was thinking about was YouTube and channel growth. And what I had to say about growth is that a lot of people kind of tend to focus, when it comes to channel growth, they kind of tend to focus on the numbers. And from what I've learned from doing this, I've had this channel since 2012. I had another channel prior to this, like back in like 2009 or 2010, somewhere around there. So I've been doing this for a while. So, I've learned a lot of things over the years. And one of the things I have to say when it comes to channel growth is that it's less about numbers and more on how are you growing as a channel. And this is for those of you who have a YouTube channel. So it's not really for just generalized viewers. But you have to kind of focus on what your analytics, what are people watching? Are they clicking off because you're saying too many times? Or Are they just not interested in things you're saying? Or is there something you're doing in your videos? You have to look and see, when are they clicking off? Are your videos too long? Shaky camera. That's one of the big ones. That really turns me off when I see shaky camera. You don't have to have the best camera. You don't have to have the best lighting and all that. But, you know, those kind of things do kind of help. And I will admit, I've went and purchased, you know, cameras. Stuff like that. I even went out and purchased a tripod. And that's something I would suggest for anyone who has, like, something to film on, but it's kind of shaky and you can't hold it. Invest in a tripod. If you can't invest in a tripod, then, like, prop up, you know, your cell phone or whatever you're using against something so it's not shaky. But, you know, go ahead. The YouTube has a lot of different things like tips and techniques on how to grow your channel. I made a tips and techniques video where I kind of, you know, laid out a lot of this stuff. If you haven't seen it, go out and check that out. I'm not going to link it. I'm too lazy for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So, like I said, I'm kind of busy. Like, the whole month just flew by. But I just wanted to remind you guys that growth is not all just about the numbers. It's not just about reaching, like, certain tiers of subscribers. It's more than that. You have to grow. Your channel has to grow. It has to mature. It can't be the same shit you were doing when you had, like, only 5 subscribers. You have to grow as a channel. But enough of that. Let's get on with the books I picked up in July. First up, we have Lullaby by Chuck Palahniuk. My library friend, we talked briefly about Chuck Palahniuk, and I used to go to school with this girl who swore by Chuck Palahniuk. It was her favorite author, and she's like, you have to read all of his books. And I've only read Fight Club. I told him, I says, you know, hey, I liked Fight Club. I enjoyed the film. I thought the book was just okay. But he's like, you know, hey, he's like, you know, check out this one book. I think you'll really enjoy it. So I'm willing to give it a shot. I don't know when I will get to reading this. Like, a lot of the times when I pick up new books, I don't know exactly. I'm not, like, overly stoked to read them and have to read them right away. Oftentimes I'll, like, you know, they'll sit for a few months before I even want to contemplate reading them, but I don't know if I'll get to that right away. Also, D.H. Lawrence, Apocalypse. This is to do with materialism and intellectual modern man. It's a commentary on the Book of Revelation. So, this is the guy who wrote Lady Chatterley's Lover, which I enjoyed that one. It was erotic. It does have a lot of language that I have to warn people that are triggered by the C word, you know, if you're triggered by stuff like that. It does have that kind of language. It's written from the early 1900s. So I thought this might be interesting. It's philosophy, religion, and mythology. It might be interesting. I may never read that. But if I ever feel compelled to, I have the option to. I might just discard it in the future. Also, I saw this very beat up copy of The Dark Child by Kamara Lay. It's the autobiography of an African boy. So it sounded interesting. It's about some kid's youth in French Guinea. And it must have been one of those college textbooks, because there's like a lot of stuff like underlined and stuff like that. When it comes to nonfiction, I'm always up for trying to, you know, learn about other people's experiences with life. So this kind of struck me, and I'm like, yeah, that might be interesting. So maybe I will take a stab at this and read it sometime. It's not the color purple, but it might be interesting. Also, we got My Education by William S. Burroughs. Burroughs is the guy who wrote Junkie and Naked Lunch. Honestly, I couldn't get through Naked Lunch. I got to this one scene about pedophiles killing boys, and I was like, no, not gonna read this anymore. I keep thinking back that I'm like, well, maybe I should just plow through that part and just get over it and read it, because it is one of those classic books that everybody's like, you gotta read this book. So I'm thinking I may try to reread that book. I still own a copy of it. But as a person, I'm kind of interested to see what's the deal with this guy. Like, why did he write such a scene? So maybe it'll help me understand why that was kind of creepy. Also, I picked up most of these were free books from the library. They were on the library cart, the free cart. This one is the Harad Experiment by Robert H. Rimmer. His name is Rimmer. But it's a book, a psychology book about the free love movement. So I thought that would be kind of interesting just to learn. I can't believe somebody wrote about the free love movement. So I was like, could be interesting, could be weird, who knows. And last but not least, we have a short story collection, Zombie Fiction, 21st Century Dead. This includes a bunch of different authors. Like, who all is in this? Oh, Orson Scott Card, which I didn't know he wrote any zombie fiction. Simon Green, who I've never heard of Daniel Wilson. Jonathan Mayberry, I like him. Chelsea Kane, never heard of. Dan Chwan, never heard of. Kurt Sutter, that's the... Oh, what is that? Motorcycle... Sons of Anarchy. John Skip, never heard of him. Brian Keene, and many others. So this might be interesting. I think I'll probably, out of all these books, this is probably one I'll read sooner than later. Just because I love short story compilations, just for the simple fact that it's a little sampler. You get to sample an author's writing and kind of learn what their writing style is. And I've discovered a lot of authors that I never would have read otherwise if not for short story collections like this. I absolutely love little short story collections like that because, it's little sampler, little book sampler. That's all I got for you guys. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too long. I'm just waking up. I'm thoroughly exhausted, so I apologize if I'm too blah for you. But it is what it is. I kind of wanted to film this around the 1st so I could upload it on the 1st and have it ready to go. And it is what it is. I will have my book depository link down below. If you would like to purchase any of these books or any book in general, like help support my channel. I'm not getting AdSense. I've got the views, just don't have the subs. That's one of the things that really bothers me is that, like, I will get tons of views on book reviews, which is why, because it always bothered me that people, when I was a part of BookTube, were always like, oh, we don't do book reviews because nobody wants to watch them. But the thing always was that most of my views, all of my views, always came from book reviews. So I was like, F you, I'm going to do me. And I'm going to do what works for my channel, and book reviews are what works for me, and that's what people are coming for. But then again, my audience and most of the viewers of BookTube are a whole different breed. So, like, I think a lot of these people who are saying nobody watches book reviews are all, like, 13-year-old kids watching their videos, so 13-year-old kids obviously aren't into book reviews, I guess. So yeah, it is what it is, but I will have that book depository link down below if you'd like to purchase something to help support my channel. If you're looking for, like, more fiction, if you want me to read one of these books sometime in the near future, or if you've read any of them, let me know down below. yeah, just hit that subscriber button if you're looking for more book reviews. Basically, that's what I do. That's my thing. Mostly review comic books and graphic novels. No single issues or trades this time. And hit that notification bell. That's all I got for you guys. Till then, I'll be geeking out.